record.
Press record.
Thanks a lot, Craig. Anyway, yeah, so this is so we've got this session tonight. Next Thursday night we've got session 12, which is looking at our results and sort of trying to understand the variability, because not everyone gets the results they hope for too. So that's next week, and then the week after that, so 2 weeks from today, will be our celebration session. And let me encourage you to plan on being there for that. That's just having a bit of fun together. So 2 weeks from today, CHIP will be officially over. Well, this part of CHIP, unless you'd like to join Club CHIP, which I'll tell you a bit more about in the next couple of weeks. So let's get started tonight. I've just watched the video while I was making tea, and it's a good video. I think it addresses some important things. So tell me, from what you've watched to what you can remember or have written down in your books, page 138 in your Live More book, what do you think? What were some of the thoughts that you got from the video? Anyone like to share?
To me, it was just a reminder that, and I've written down, the simple things in life are the best. Obviously, you know, our Christian faith, family, the dog, camping, great outdoors.
Okay, so that's some of the things that are really meaningful for you and your family, Lynn. You guys obviously love getting out and about camping. I can't say that's something. I've got a hubby that's not real flash on camping. He likes glamping. And I used to be a camper, but since being married to him for 24 years, I haven't done a lot of it. But you know, it is, you're absolutely right. It's being with each other. So some relationships is really important. Family. Okay, thanks, Lynn.
We're off tomorrow with our 2 grandsons out kayaking and canoeing and paddling in the river for the weekend. So yeah, that's pretty important.
That is awesome. Beautiful. Any other thoughts?
Perm.
All righto, Craig. Now, I'm going to test you on that now. So just hang on to that thought. I don't want you to say any more, because I'm going to test you and see if you can remember what the acronym, what it means. So, but perm is actually really, it's cool. It comes from this book, from this guy here. As part of my doctoral studies I'm reading at the moment, there's a little book called Flourish by Dr. Martin Seligman. And he has what he calls the well-being theory. And PERM comes from that. So very important principles. So we'll go into them in a little bit more detail in the next slide. Any other thoughts at all? But basically the whole thing was based around PERM, wasn't it? What about money? That's a really interesting one. Tell me.
I'd like some.
Pay the bills.
Say that again, Lynn.
Just need enough to pay the bills.
Yeah. And that's an interesting. Money can buy happiness to the degree that it can make sure that you can live with those major items of security like shelter and food and clothing and pay the bills that you need to pay. But the interesting finding was that beyond that, it didn't have a great deal of bearing on happiness in some of the studies that have been done.
It can. I've written actually here, money only brings happiness when you share it and give it away.
That's fascinating too. That Darren referred to that study. You know, I use that occasionally. I've had to get up the front and announce the offering in my local church. And I get up there and say, I've come here this morning to make you happy. And we really want you to be happy in this church. And one of the ways that we know you can be happy is by giving away some money. But yeah, no, it's an amazing principle, isn't it?
Are you sure you're not married to the treasurer?
No, but I was an elder and they were trying to make sure we got better offerings. So any other thoughts at all from the video? No? All right, now's the test. Okay, try not to look at your books. What do they stand for? P.
Is it positive emotions?
Yes, it is. And there can be lots of positive emotions, can't there? It's not just happy, it's joyful, it's humour, lots of positive emotions that go towards helping make us to be happy. Even just peace and calm helps us to be happy. Okay, so positive emotions is a really important one. Interestingly, in some of the reading I've been doing today, I'm reading another book as well called Happiness and Its Causes by Dr. Ed Diner. They talk about Americans. They're in the mindset of Americans for happy tends to be real upbeat and real excitable. But mindsets for positive emotions for other people, like the Asian populations typically, can be a much more calm and peaceful sense. It's really interesting how we all experience happy differently. So yeah, that was something that I'd never thought of before. But what's Americans tend to be sometimes, to me, they can almost knock you out with their exuberance. They're a bit over the top. Well, we think they're over the top, but that's the way that they express. Yeah. Were you going to say something there, Craig? No?
No, I'm waving to Heather's friend.
Ah, hi, Heather's friend. Cool. Okay, so what's E? Now we've got Heather and Heather's friend on board. That's awesome. Oh, hello, a young friend. That's cool. And Craig's son too. That's really cool. So you're welcome to stay, boys. So we're just giving a little test. What does the E stand for is the next question.
Engagement.
Yes. Tell me what that means. Tell me what you learned about engagement.
Love what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Do any of you experience that you absolutely love what you do and you look at your watch when you get to work and then all of a sudden you look at it again and it's nearly time to go home? Lynn does. It's awesome, Lynn.
Yeah, most days.
Most days it's like that for you, Craig?
Yep.
That's awesome. And there's a very well-known psychologist whose name I won't even attempt to say. It's very long and hard and I can't spell it or say it, who came up with the concept of flow. And he talks about when you're in a state of flow, you're totally engrossed, totally engaged in what you're doing. And if you can, even if you don't get that at work, if you can find other areas or hobbies where you experience flow, then that's actually a really good thing too. So engagement, flow, getting into something that you love is great. Okay, let's see. A. Boys, let's see how good your dad is. Does he know what A stands for?
Would it be activity?
Similar. We've got boys trying to help Craig, but that's not quite it.
Achievement.
Achievement it is. Excellent. Okay, so that one's basically about a sense of accomplishment, worthwhile pursuits. What do you guys like to get into where you feel like you're achieving good things? Has anyone got something that they do just for the sake of achieving it, or anyone got anything like that they get into, that the joy is in achieving?
I need my 10,000 steps every day.
And that's actually a really good one. I was thinking of exercise too, Lynn. Knowing that you're doing it every day, that's good. Excellent.
Often the hardest part's getting started, but I think Tuesday I said to my husband, I came home, I said, come on, let's go down the Esplanade. And there was a big cruise boat in, so we parked right up the other end, and Craig can appreciate, he was just here. We walked an hour or so right down around the back of the boat, and we walked back. And there was tourists everywhere. The place is full of tourists and they're playing music, and it was a beautiful atmosphere, beautiful night. I said, let's go shout ourselves an ice cream. And they've got this new frozen yogurt. I don't know if you've heard about it. This thing on the Esplanade. I don't know if you saw it, Craig. We'd never been there before. But it was beautiful. I got a banana, soy, cinnamon. And you can just put these bitter lychees and stuff on there. And we took it over and sat there and just listened to the music, and then we walked on out back home again. It was wonderful. It was a lovely night. So it's just getting motivated. Once you get there, we're so pleased you did it. And we did 13,874 steps.
Wow. And it's purely just for the enjoyment of doing it at the time. And that's great. Awesome. Anyone else got anything that they get into where they experience achievement when they can do it? No? I know for me, I play the piano. I'm a self-taught musician and I play for church. And sometimes, in fact, often these days, I get a song that I don't know, a brand new, more contemporary song, I don't know it, and I have to spend quite a bit of time with that song. And so I always feel an awesome sense of achievement when I've played it, the band's played it, I've played it and survived and not made any massive mistakes. And yeah, it is. It's just this constant process of learning with the piano. It's learning one song after another, and yeah, it's awesome. Look back now, I think, man, I know all those songs that I would never have bothered to learn if I didn't have to. Okay, R. R.
Realization or realization, I can't remember anymore.
Relationship,
yeah.
yes.
Relationship, yeah.
This is an important one, don't you think? I think this is a really important one. We are born to be social. Our brains are wired to be social. We're very much, even introverts. I read an interesting study in this book, Happiness. They did a study on introverts and extroverts, and they thought that when introverts would be by themselves, they would be at their happiest. And extroverts, when they're with people, would be at their happiest. And I guess that's kind of the natural thing to think. But the interesting thing that turned out was, in this study that they did, they found that actually introverts were happiest when they were in the presence of other people. They didn't necessarily have to be talking with them, but they were happiest when they were near and with other people, even more so than extroverts. So that was a really interesting thing to find. Often we sort of put people in a box and think, oh, introverts don't like being with others. But actually, relationships are important, not just for extroverts, but for everybody. Yeah.
And I think that we are what we are because of just people around us. That's what makes us what we are. You talked about positive emotions.
Yep.
Feeling better when we give out money to other people. You know, seeing that you have been able to influence somebody's life in a positive way gives you that sense of achievement.
Yes.
Gives you that positive emotion, and you have built a relationship. Because let's take it. Today you are sitting on that chair of disposition to help. What about it turns around and the other person is sitting on it, and you have never in the past affected the life in any way, this time positively? So we are what we are just because of people around us. And I believe that of all that we make the rest of the acronyms or MAIT.
Yes, I agree with you. I think they are absolutely core. I agree with you, Prince Will. And interestingly, when are the times we experience the greatest joy? It's when we've done something for somebody else. It's amazing, you know, they that little saying, it's only what we give away that enriches us from day to day. And it's absolutely true in so many ways. Not only do they get a blessing, but we get a blessing too. So relationships are just good for us all around. Any other thoughts? I put that dolphin there because another thing that that people experience joy from is relationships with animals. And we think of animals, the most intelligent animals, dogs, dolphins, whatever, as being able to play and interact with us. I think I've probably told you the story, did I? Have I told you guys the story about me and the dolphin? Yes? No? Oh, they've all frozen. Okay.
Not too
I
far from
can't.
Camp. Have you ever been there, Craig?
Where?
Camp Halpa? Have you been to Halpa?
No. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Welcome,
you can
Mel.
keep
Back, Mel.
on today, Heather.
You're on mute, Mel. We can't hear you.
I just went on a little holiday for a moment. Sorry about that.
Has it become suddenly cold there?
Do you know, next week we're getting NBN. Next Tuesday we're getting NBN. So I am praying that by next Thursday my problems with the internet will be over. So
Right.
that's the promise. Let's hope it works.
So for everybody else, that means we don't have a meeting next week because Mel's got NBN.
Oh, was it that bad, Craig? Do not.
Apparently.
Oh,
We'll call her little sweet pea because she keeps being snap frozen.
Anyway, look, back to where we were. I guess one of the other things I wanted to make sure we remembered about relationships, they're actually good for our health. Relationships are good for our immune system. And I know I am recording, okay. Good for our immune system. And isolation is related to illness and suffering big time. So
Make it smaller than this.
No.
did I tell you guys the story about the dolphin? I can't remember. No? I put that dolphin there because one of the things Darren spoke about tonight was laughing and how laughing's good for us. Please stop me if I've already told you this story, but at the beginning of this year, I took my children to SeaWorld. And they're teenagers, and I didn't really want to go. They just wanted to go on the rides. They're not interested in the animals at the moment. They just wanted to do the rides. And I said, oh, all right. So I went on, sent them off to do the rides. So what am I going to do? I stood and waited near there's like a big, I don't know if you've been there, but there's a big area where you can sort of look over the fence at the dolphins. And I'm just standing there grumpy because I had to go, thinking, how am I going to kill 2 hours, blah, blah, waiting for these kids. So I'm just sort of leaning over the fence watching dolphins, and all of a sudden this great lump of green seaweed just got thrown onto my chest. And I looked and thought, what on earth is that? And I looked down, here's this dolphin looking up at me with his big beak open like he was laughing at me. Seemed to say, what are you doing there, Grumpy? And he'd literally flicked with his mouth this lump of seaweed up onto my chest. And then I got it and I thought, far out. So it was like he was waiting for me to throw it back into his mouth. I threw it back, and that dolphin and I played for the next half an hour. This game, he just would get it in a right position and flick it back up on top of me, and then I'd pick it up and throw it back at him. And people came and people went, and this dolphin just played with me. It was one of the most delightful experiences of my life, because I absolutely have always loved dolphins, but had never had a real close encounter. And the funny thing was, there's a sign on the side of the fence saying, don't throw stuff at the dolphins. And I'm like, well, they threw at me first, so I'm throwing back. And it was and it was only seaweed. It wasn't like I was throwing him chips or anything. So look, that game, it just delighted me in every sense to have this dolphin initiate play with me, grumpy guts that I was standing there looking at them. And, it just gave me such a boost on that day. So that's why I've got the little dolphin picture there, because just to remind me it was a delightful experience. Anyone else had any delightful encounters with animals?
I have with dolphins at Monkey Mire twice, Mel. We've been across there, and the last one was just last year. And I'd learned from the time before that if you go in your board shorts, they'll pick you to actually, you can't go in and touch them, but they can come to you. And, they give you a fish to hold and whatever. And, we played tug of war. put his head on the side and look at you and flip you and, you know, wet you. I was absolutely saturated. It was probably 4 degrees, like what Heather had as the maximum today. But I didn't care. It's a really special connection. But yeah, we've got a German Shepherd dog, and yeah, they're unbelievable animals as well. You know, some days you have a stressful day at work and you've been dealing with domestic violence and some of that stuff, and I sit down and, you know, just they never cross. They just unconditional love. Just beautiful animals. Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely awesome. One day I'm going to Monkey Mire. That sounds awesome. Anyone else got anything they'd like to share before we move on to our final one? No? What is the final one, by the way?
Is it memories?
No, not.
I forgot.
You forgot? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll help then. It's meaning. And actually, the story is that Darren actually changed the acronym. Dr. Martin Seligman has it as PERMA, but Darren asked Dr. Seligman if he could change the order to make meaning go at the end, because he felt that meaning was the most important. And he talks about how there's kind of like a graduating, the positive emotions probably being the least important, down to relationships and meaning being the most important. So meaning's all about hope, what you live for, what is it that provides meaning in your life. We're going to talk about that now. Does anyone want to comment before we move on?
Does it have anything to do with Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
It doesn't refer specifically to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I definitely know the one that you're referring to, but there's certainly a little bit about this. PERM is purely about, well, Dr. Martin Seligman calls it well-being theory. Oh my goodness, look at that beautiful dog. Yeah, so he is gorgeous, Craig. This whole PERMA or PERM relates to well-being, and I can see sort of how it would relate a little bit to Maslow, but it's basically, this is Dr. Seligman's theory called the well-being theory that we're looking at tonight. What's his name, Craig?
It's Fergus.
Fergus. What a beautiful dog. Absolutely gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Very loving dog.
He looks like he just wants to snuggle in.
Yeah.
Good to keep you warm, Craig.
Pardon? Good to keep me warm, that's right.
All right, we've probably shared a little bit of this as we went along tonight through those things. Has anyone got something specifically where you'd like to share with us, something where you get involved and you just feel totally engaged? Not necessarily work, but any other pursuits or hobbies or things where you can just find yourself totally in that flow, as we talked about.
Last two Sundays ago, in the church here, we had a community outreach whereby we went to one of the open markets to do health checks on people.
Right.
Checking their blood pressures, their weight,
Mm-hmm.
their sugar levels, and things like that, and advising them on how to live more happily and longer. So it was quite engaging when people walking about, you may feel that they know much, but that is not very true.
Mm.
So you find yourself totally engrossed with somebody who is openly asking questions on how to change their lifestyles. It's quite engaging that Sunday.
I'm sure that would have been very satisfying, Prince Will.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else got any that they'd like to share of situations where you find that you're in that state of full engagement?
Yeah, so today, ours was a work situation, but today I've got an office staff of 5, and their computer skills are not fantastic. So today for the last couple of days, we've actually been spending time teaching them internal computer systems. But today we focus on just using Microsoft Word, and just watching them enjoy learning this new thing that it's available to them, that they didn't know it could do so many things.
Right.
And you just sort of get carried away with the training and watching their responses and getting them to do things that the time passes by, and next minute it's lunchtime, and then the end of the day. So
Awesome.
Watching them achieve was very good.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been able to help them through that too. That would have been great, Craig. Awesome. Thanks. Let's move on. Okay, now we're looking at achievements, and I thought maybe some of you would be willing to share something significant that you feel you've achieved on your CHIP journey so far. Sometimes it can be little steps to get to where we're going, but maybe there's one thing that you feel that you've mastered, or that's become a new habit, something that you've achieved since we began the CHIP journey back in April. It's been a while. Anyone got anything they'd like to share?
I think mine is knowledge or insight that I have gained from CHIPs. I work in a situation whereby people come most of the time asking me what to do to help them, predominantly weight. And people are taking to some short fix to their weight problems. So, but with the insight, knowledge so far garnered from CHIPs, I'm better placed now how to advise them to achieve their aim in a more sustainable manner.
Excellent.
And not doing something that today, tomorrow, the result of what they achieved today is reversed. So I'm trying to teach them more now how to live a lifestyle that is durable, that is sustainable, and we help them to achieve a sustained weight loss.
Excellent. That's excellent. Thank you, Prince Will. Thank you. That's a great achievement to be able to be in that position where you're, I guess, confident and got what you need to be able to help them better. So that is awesome. Anyone else like to share?
I got my blood results the other day, and I was pleased to see that my LDLs and my triglycerides went down.
Awesome. That's great, Craig.
Didn't fix one of the other things I was hoping, but anyway, I know why.
Well, at least it's still progress, and that's really good. So congratulations on those things. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think the program itself has been very informative.
Okay.
And again, as Prince Will was saying, getting people to understand it's not a quick fix. It does need to be a lifestyle change and a long-term thing.
Yeah.
And it takes some effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And most good things do take some effort, don't they? So no, good on you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else like to share before we move on?
For me, it's probably been more around the mental health. I wouldn't say that I really struggled with it, but often once in a term, I sort of collapse in a heap just because of the kind of work I'm doing and the situations I'm dealing with, and, being able to, get it off your chest or whatever. But I think, I've been really sort of stringent in my diet, and I think that's really helped. But I think also going through these things, and sometimes we know it, but we just need those reminders.
Yes.
And the real, as I said, the 10,000 steps too, I suppose. Well, I think it's sort of winter. It's been dark and cold up here, I reckon, not compared to poor old Heather down there. But you know, it's really made me determined and get that commitment to get out. And even though you don't feel like it, you come home and you're tired, to put your boots on and get out and go for a walk. And it definitely, yeah, I definitely think I've been a lot more level pegging than, you know, I normally would have been.
Okay, so it's not so up and down, Lynn. You've managed to keep on that even keel, so to speak, with your mental health in terms of all the stuff you have to deal with at work and everything. Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's up and down, you know, weekly, but maybe once in a 10-week term, you just come home and you just want to cry and just get it out, and you know, because you're just dealing with, you know, horrendous domestic violence and sexual abuse and stuff that's just horrendous. But, you know, praise the Lord, this time I haven't done that, and I am very grateful. And I really think that Chip and it's been the hard work in chopping things up and all that. I see Heather nodding her head. It's, you know, that's sort of taken its toll at times, but still overall, it's definitely well worth it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else like to share before we move on? No? Okay, that's cool. Let's go on. Hang on, I've lost you. Okay, we're coming to the end, and please don't feel like you have to share, but maybe some of you be willing to share what is it? What are some of the ways that, and it's not necessarily one thing, it can be numerous things. What are some things that give you meaning? What are those undergirding things that drive you in life, that give you the meaning for your everyday stuff? Anyone brave enough to share?
I'm happy to read to you what I wrote.
Hang on. Yep, go for it.
I belong to Jesus, and I serve him the very best I can every day by taking care of his temple, my body, and being a good example in all I do and say, helping others, devoting my life to him, working hard, and ultimately having a good work-life balance.
Excellent. Love it. So it's your Christian walk, your work-life balance, your family, working hard. All of those are really awesome things that provide you meaning. Not necessarily easy all the time, not necessarily fun all the time, but providing you meaning. Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate you sharing. Anyone else would like to share? I see Principal's having a bit of fun and games there. And you know what? Kids are one of the things that bring us meaning and joy. And there's one there. Hello. Is this one of your children?
Hello.
Hello, sweetheart. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
But Dad told me.
All right. Okay, well, let's move on unless someone else would like to speak. All right. Dr. Martin Seligman defines meaning as a feeling of belonging to and serving something that you believe is bigger than the self. In what way is this true in your life? I know we're sort of asking pretty meaningful questions.
It's based on this that I was asking whether it may not have been coined from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but when we go to this meaning as a feeling of belonging to and serving something that you believe is bigger than self. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you talk about having that sense of belonging, the sense of self-actualization.
Yes.
So, and in this, we talked about achievements, we talked about relationship. So they go together in the sense that when we're talking about chips now, for me, I feel that I have achieved a lot from this, and that gives me a lot of meaning that I can now positively impact on people. So it's not just about myself. yeah, it relates to me in the sense that I have to, like Paul says,
Yes.
let me not make disciples of others and myself left out. So
Yep.
as much as I'm learning to improve my lifestyle, I feel more actualized that I can use what I've learned to also affect other people's life and improve their own quality of life who may be struggling in one way or the other. And that gives me a lot of meaning here.
Yeah, but you know what? That is awesome, Prince Will. I love hearing that from you, that you're taking what you've learned for yourself and you're now going to share it with everyone that you can. And I think that is an awesome thing, and I can see why that would give you meaning. And that's one of the reasons why I run CHIP and facilitate CHIP. No, one of the greatest joys is seeing people's lives changed and transformed by learning themselves all this information that we've learned through CHIP. So thank you for sharing that. That's been a blessing to me tonight just to hear that. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? We'll leave it there, guys. I really, really appreciate the sharing that you have done tonight. Thank you for being willing to contribute. And I really do hope that CHIP in and of itself and just some of the principles that we've learned about having a flourishing life, that I guess part of it is developing an awareness of those things and making sure that we're meeting some of those needs so that we can truly flourish. So just to come to an end, I just wanted to remind you to complete your health risk assessment. Number 1, if you haven't already, but number 2, if possible by July 20, which is our final date. Craig, I've got an email, just stay on the line when we finish in a moment, and I'll help you with yours. If anyone does have any trouble with inputting or you input data incorrectly and can't get back to fix it, please yell out. I have access to it and I'm able to help go in there and fix things. So just want to encourage you, if you haven't had your second set of blood tests, go and have that done. Hopefully for most of you it will be a positive experience. And look, I know that in reality it isn't always for everybody. Some people's bodies don't change that quickly. My encouragement to you would be to hang in there and keep doing what you're doing and tweak where you need to, but keep doing what you're doing, because it's not just about blood test results. It's about doing what's best for your health, getting the exercise, eating well, and often your body will follow in due course. So do hang in there. Don't get discouraged if you find that your results aren't quite as good as what you were hoping. Any questions on health risk assessment?
I just want to say that it's a lifestyle, and a lifestyle is a habit, which becomes a character. So we are learning to live and how to characterize our life in a positive way. So not just within the few weeks to have achieved a 0 cholesterol level, which we don't even want, but how do we sustain a healthy living all the days of our life and not just during the time we do CHIPs. And that is what I said is the greatest thing that I have learned from here.
Absolutely. It's a new lifestyle, and definitely not just something that we stop. And like, it's not a diet, never has been. So no, I appreciate your comments. Anyone else with any questions about HRAs other than Craig? I know about, we'll chat at the end. So let me just encourage you to make sure you come. I'd love to see you next week too, obviously, but really put aside July 20 at our usual time. We will have a mystery guest on the night with a message of encouragement for us. I'll give you some more information about our Club CHIP program as well. I'll be handing out a few virtual victory awards, as we call them, just for a bit of fun. And it's just a relaxed, fun night together. So just want to make sure that if you can possibly come to that one, that you do. So other than that, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. And we're sort of going back to session 12. And it will help if you've had your blood test results, both sets in there side by side, so you can see what's going on. But even if you don't, it's still worth watching. it's an important one to help you know how you can tweak things if you need to. So that's next Thursday is this topic, session 12, understanding results and taking action. And then the following Thursday night will be our final graduation ceremony of celebration. So look forward to seeing you there in a couple of weeks' time. Any other questions before we leave tonight?
The next question is thank you.
No problem. Excellent. Well, that's it, guys. I'll press the stop recording. We'll look forward to seeing you next Thursday night.
Thank you.